welcome to the video. Today we are going to be talking about legal consciousness and how it makes art inherently political, and then also a few examples of this that I really like. Before we can get into the concept of art inherently being political, we have to understand what legal consciousness is. As defined by Oxford University, quote, "Legal consciousness refers to what people do as well as say about law. It is understood to be part of a reciprocal process in which the meanings given by individuals to their world become patternized, stabilized, and objectified. These meanings, once institutionalized, become part of the material and discursive system that limit and constrain future meaning making. Consciousness is not an individual trait, nor solely ideational. Legal consciousness is a type of social practice reflecting and forming social structures." Or, to put it more simply, legal consciousness refers to the process of coming to and the action of understanding how we are both subjects and agents of law, and understanding how laws shape society and the norms within it. It is important to note that legal consciousness does not refer to one's knowledge about the government or how specific laws work, and while it's obviously a good thing to understand that, it is a completely separate concept. Regardless of how educated one is about law and some of its more subtle impacts on society and the norms we function under, we usually have a somewhat inherent understanding that the law has a greater impact on us than just setting rules for us to follow. The laws of a nation serve as a reflection of the norms of a society, but also as a force of change and a way to push some kind of political agenda. Law is political, and as we grow a deeper understanding of this, we ourselves become agents of the law with the ability to create change. This change can come through direct action itself, whether that be from protests, petitions, or working within the law through legal mobilization, but it can also come in the form of creation. Whether or not it's intentional, the media we create reflects our values, morals, and the cultural and social norms of the society we live in. No matter how small or insignificant, every detail comes from hundreds and thousands of years of law creating norms and regulating how we behave. In the same way that law inherently serves a political agenda, so does art. Art is inherently political. One of my favorite examples of a political piece of art comes from the musical Rent. Rent tells the story of a group of friends living in New York in the late 1980s and early 1990s that have been deeply impacted by the AIDS crisis. And while the story is very obviously about AIDS, the importance of accepting queer identities, and found family, many miss its deeper meaning of the gentrification crisis in New York and other major cities in America. While gentrification was already a huge problem in New York prior to the AIDS crisis, it only got worse during that period. The AIDS crisis gave landlords and building owners motivation and justification to speed up the ongoing process of moving out as many queer and racial minorities out of their buildings as possible. They did this by not allowing those who had a partner who died of AIDS to inherit the lease of the partner who died, since the lease wasn't in their name and because of the legal ban on gay marriage, in turn avoiding their previously stabilized rent and making them choose between signing a new lease with a much higher rent that reflects market prices or moving out of the building. This forced hundreds of people who had been living in buildings for years to move out. This was a social norm that was backed by law. There was nothing to protect anyone from the landlords who chose to do this. Now I know what you're thinking. Yeah, sure, Rent's political, but that was on purpose. That doesn't prove that all art is political, and while I understand why you might be thinking that, let's also take a look at an example that might shock you. I, like much of Gen Z and millennials, grew up watching the show Thomas and Friends. Anyone who watched the show would tell you it's just a show about a train and his friends, but I highly doubt they would also tell you about the subliminal political messaging in it. In 2009, after watching and analyzing 23 episodes of Thomas and Friends, political scientist Shauna Wilton found that the show had many themes that weren't exactly constructive to children. Quote, "While the show conveys a number of positive political values such as tolerance, listening, communicating with others, and contributing to the community, it also represents a conservative political ideology that punishes individual initiative, opposes critique and change, and relegates females to supporting roles." Thomas is shown in 130 countries around the world. Hundreds and thousands of children watch it every day. Walton noted that the storyline in several episodes divided the characters in different social classes and punished those who tried to gain individual power. Any change was seen as disrupting the natural order of the community. In addition, only 8 of the 49 characters in the show were female, reflecting the general trend in children's TV shows. Walton goes on to say, quote, "We tend to think of children's TV shows as neutral and safe, but they still carry messages. Eventually, these children will attain full political citizenship, and the opinions and world outlook they develop now, partially influenced by shows like Thomas and Friends, are a part of that process." Thomas seems like an innocent show, but with all things, it carries the agenda of those who made it. It shapes the way children view the world and in turn impact what will become their own legal consciousness. Hopefully today I have been able to encourage you to not only think about your own legal consciousness and how you developed those ideas, but also to think about what political agenda or norms the media you consume is trying to serve. And of course, thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.